Hey, right guys, this is Bit from Set 3 and Pass, and today I'm showing you my Floowandereeze deck updated for the new meta. Now the Banlist has hit us and there's a couple of things that have gone out the meta and a couple of things that have come back in, like Yugioh. Spoiler alert, I'm not playing Yugioh. It's not even a bird type, it's actually a fiend, so that's not for this deck. But anyway, before we begin, remember to like, share, comment and subscribe. If you want weekly trading card game videos, we would appreciate the subscribe as well. Okay, let's begin. So, as normal, you don't want to change any of these ratios. You always want to play 3 Robina, 3 Eglin, and I actually play 2 Stree. A lot of videos only play 1 Stree. A lot of deck profiles, apologies, always play 1 Stree. In this deck, if you don't see a bird, you're not playing, and Stree is actually not a dead card in your hand if you have any other card. So these two are 1 card combos, especially Robina, and Stree, you need 2 cards for it to fully combo. And the 1/2 can, you don't need any more than that. For the Floowandereeze spell cards, you want to see 3 Advent of Adventure. This card is a lifesaver, literally, because the secondary effect, you actually gain 500, and I've seen some Floowandereeze players not adding 500 to your life. Just remember, if this thing resolves, you actually gain 500. In a meta where a lot of sword soul things are running around and you're losing time, do make sure you add 500 to this. And this also banishes for cost, so you know, it sort of skips things like Imperm, Chalice, Effect Veiler, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. And also you can add a Floowandereeze monster or a spell card. So if you're missing the map, get your monster banished, get your map, and then toucan your map back. Then you have 3 Magnificent Map. This is probably the MVP of the deck. An amazing card. And just remember that its effect to some normal summon is actually an effect of the card itself. You're not wasting your normal summon. So just remember, and you don't have to reveal your monster. You can simply say, right, map, activate map's effect, and then wait for your opponent to respond. It's not a cost. You do not have to show them any information that you don't want to. And this card, I actually cut it out in my last profile, so the link will be down here below somewhere. I actually cut this card out, and the reason why I cut this card out is because it was just too slow. It's a win more card. If I have it on the field, I'm winning anyway. I didn't see a reason for it, but I have run into people this format are going to be countering Floowandereeze with Zombie World and the Necro World Banshee, and this literally just gets rid of Zombie World. So you do want to see at least one of it. And then the last card, Dreaming Town. Now this card is probably the most abusable card in this entire deck, because not only does it put your opponent on alert, because you can like literally force interactions with this card, but it also forces your opponent to think differently, because you are going to full combo again on their turn as well after you full comboed on your turn. So again, make sure that you're using this wisely. And the other effect for this is if you summon a level 7 or higher wing beast, this thing banishes itself from the graveyard and it Book of Moons everything on their field. So remember that as well. If you're playing against Sword players and they normal summon Taie, just activate this and just flip everything down. They're not going to be able to synchro again. So remember your interactions with this. And then for the big birds, we play 2 of Empen. You need 2, you can't play any less than 2. I know a lot of people, and I look at their profiles, they only have 1 of them because they rather play 1 Empen, 2 Raiza. I don't think that's the right ratio. You should be playing 2 Empen, 1 Raiza, because Empen actually gives you an extra summon. Raiza is basically when you're about to win the game. Empen will stop your opponent's special summon monsters in attack mode, but also that extra special summon is really, extra normal summon, sorry, is really important. There's the 1 Raiza. Just a little thing about Raiza. Remember, Raiza is mandatory. Its effect to target is mandatory, so when it's normal summoned, you have to activate it. Another ruling about Raiza that I got at the locals is even if they don't have anything in their graveyard, Raiza will still activate. If we can shuffle 1 from the field or the graveyard, it still has to activate. So even if they've got nothing in their grave, you still have to activate the effect. So just be careful how you use this. And in this deck, you can Raiza twice in 1 turn. It's possible. And I play the 1 Apex Avian. This is probably the best bird, second to Empen. I always search Empen, get Avian out, just to make sure we have the extra negate, because this deck doesn't have that many negates, but this is really good. and the Storm Barrier statue of the Stormwinds. This just stops decks from playing. But just be careful because it's not as good as it was last meta. One of the decks, the Despia deck, Aluba's got 1800 attack, so they can just normal summon Aluba, get Aluba's effect, and then just swing into your statue. So just make sure you've got Dreaming Town or Forced Interaction to get the Aluba off the field. And then for the hand traps, play 3-Dimension Shifter. There's not many decks that can use Dimension Shifter, and this deck uses it really well because you don't care about your cards being banished. In fact, you want to get your cards banished, so this doesn't hurt you in the slightest, but it does hurt your opponent. And in fact, people just skip their entire turns. 3 Ash. Again, Ash is generic. And the other thing is, the hand traps in this deck, I use them because they work really well with D-Shifter. So I'm not using things like Effect Veiler where you have to discard it into the graveyard because I don't want them to conflict with D-Shifter. So all the hand traps in here don't really conflict with D-Shifter at all. 3 Imperm, best hand actual trap in the game, and 1 DD Crow. Why DD Crow? Because you can search it with your Rabina, and again it's always good because you can use it against Brad in the red, get rid of their target and they're not summoning. Okay, so those were the hand traps. Now we play the spell cards, the power spells. I'm playing 3 Prosperity. You don't have to play Prosperity, you can play Extravagance. But these are just really good because you can dig deep into your deck. And remember, if you activate the next card, which is Duality, you are literally going into your deck for 9 cards. If you activate these 2 in tandem, apologies, if you activate these 2 in tandem, you're actually going into your deck for 9 cards. At that point, you are going to pick up at least one of your combo pieces. So this is really good. Although I do miss the draw 2 from Extravagance, I prefer Prosperity. But at the same time, if you cannot afford Prosperity, just go for Extravagance. And the Gold Sock. Now Gold Sock and Rabina is full combo. And Gold Sock is pretty much any other bird in your deck. So use this one wisely. And not only that, but let's say if you have Eglin in your hand, you can Gold Sock and M-Pen. So even if they stop your Eglin, you're still getting M-Pen because you've just removed Eglin from the M-Pen from the game, and you can use that to get it back as well with Toucan and any other card. So that's pretty much any other bird, any utility you'd like it to be. And the last card you play is Terraforming. Why have 3 maps when you can have 4 maps? Right, now for the extra deck, it doesn't matter, you can have whatever you want for the extra deck. There's only a couple of cards in here that have thought behind it. This Cyber Dragon Nova and Mechaba, in case someone plays Dogmatica Maximus, I believe, but no one's playing that, so they're just here to look good. I do play Zeus package, 1 Zeus, 1 Downerd, 1 Nightingale, and the rest are just random cards you can add. These are good because Shureg will grab you a bird if you have a bird banished. That's its secondary effect. And Ferjit, if it does get sent to the graveyard, you can just recycle your hand, so draw 1 and put 1 back in case your hand is dead. Here we are, just random cards. Entis, again, no one's ever used Maximus against me. Here's Chaos Goddess, here's Nightmare Phoenix, and the Geonator Transversa. Yeah, anyway, that's the extra deck. Right guys, I hope you enjoy that profile video for the new format. I'd love to hear how you guys are getting on in your locals with your Floowandereeze deck. Any comments about this deck, do put them down. Any questions, do let me know. And yeah, thank you. To be continued.